Hi, this is Andrea. This is a video response to Ruben Moutinho's video called Why Don't I Change? And I would like to discuss with you an interesting point with regards to what I've realized about changing. Now, if we've come to the understanding that we are indeed programmed, that who we are is a copy of our parents and basically a copy of society and the world and the way that we've come to accept the world. And through that, we've basically programmed ourselves to be specific personalities in this world which help us to survive and help us to exist within the current money system as it is. So we're basically programs that we've designed ourselves based on survival. And what is interesting is some of us get to a point where we realize, look, what is best for all requires change. And for me to change means that I have to take into consideration equality as what is best for all, as who I am, meaning how do I change so that I live and become a living expression of what is best for all. That means looking at what I have always accepted and allowed within me and who I have become. Is this person who I want to be within what is best for all? Because a lot of people, we tend to speak about oneness and equality as something out there, as a worldly concept, as something that we can see would be great and it would be really supportive for all living beings. However, we don't tend to realize the necessity of self changing first, because if each one of us becomes the living expression of what is best for all, here in self-honesty and in self-support, trusting self as life, then how do we expect oneness and equality to be possible on a world scale? So with regards to the point of change, what I would like to share is that when one realizes, okay, you have, let's call it, programmed yourself since childhood to now become what you are here. You've already looked at who you are and seen that you exist within certain fears. You exist as an idea of yourself according to who you perceive yourself to be as the world wants us to be. And through observing ourselves and our personalities and our fears and our desires, we come to realize that the way the world is right now, existing within a support base, basically just to support the money system, that point exists within ourselves. What I fear and what I desire and what I am not willing to let go of and what I have accepted as an idea of myself is what keeps the world systems going. So that's starting point number one, where we realize, okay, I have to change to get to a point of clarity within myself, self-purification, so that I no longer support the world systems as it is. So the first point with regards to change is, okay, one realizes I have to change. I have to look at all aspects of myself and see where am I not supporting myself, inequality as life here. Then you start working on those points with self-honesty and self-forgiveness. And sometimes the point comes up of, why am I not changing? Why do I still experience myself the same way? Which, of course, is a very cool confirmation point when one actually reflects and sees that you are not changing, because you can actually see, okay, look, I am not reprogramming me effectively. I am applying self-forgiveness and self-honesty kind of like from a drone, where I'm just going, oh, I better apply self-forgiveness on this point. But who I am is not understanding and comprehending what it means to change. And that's why I would like to start with the point of, if we are to reprogram ourselves, what does that mean? In practicality, that means actually stopping the patterns and the habits where we see we are basically trapped in a construct of the mind, just living out a pattern of fear, of desire, of want, where we are controlled through what goes on in the mind. And now you realize, okay, for example, my pattern could be wanting attention, desiring validation, addiction to people, addiction to sex. Those could be examples. Now you identify the living patterns, meaning where am I participating? Where am I allowing an energetic experience to possess me, where I go into that state, into that personality of seeking attention, or I just can't help myself, I have to masturbate, or the anger within me is just too much. Now those would be the starting point where you stop using the 4-count breath to stop yourself within the pattern. Now here you are basically deprogramming yourself, meaning you are stopping. You are stopping. It could take us 7 years, it could take us 20 years for each of us to, on a daily basis, to stop the patterns. Now the point of change, meaning where, from what I've experienced, where you go from being at a point of you identify the pattern, you see it, you stop it in the breath, to actually experiencing yourself changing, you have to reprogram yourself. So it's not to judge the word programming. We are using it because it is a suitable word right now to use, because it closely describes the human conditioning and the way that we learn and express and become. So we deprogram and then we reprogram ourselves. So the first step with regards to reprogramming, I would say, is the realization that you are reprogramming yourself. If you are coming from a perspective of not wanting to change, still holding on to patterns, still believing that that which you give power to is actually important, then you will find that you as who you are, as the realization of yourself, is not changing. First of all, no actual physical change can happen as a person if who you are is secretly still attached to the past, and we're still attached to old ideas of ourselves. So you could almost call it a belief structure. Who you believe yourself to be, you still give that value. So what happens up here as a belief structure, that has to change first. We have to reprogram not just our actual living self. We have to start with, why do I believe this about myself? Why do I hold on to this idea of myself? Because that is where the change has to occur first, is when you've stopped and you actually look at who it is that you accept yourself to be, and then you go, okay, so first I have to change my idea of myself. I have to change by stopping the abusive thoughts. I am not good enough. But what if? I'm too ugly. I'm this. I'm not clever enough. I won't make it. Without my thoughts and without this personality, I'm nothing in this world. I'll never be accepted. Those are examples of the power that we give the belief. And then from there, once you start stopping, that's what we call stopping the mind, because if we start stopping the mind with regards to changing that what we accept within ourselves as what we think of ourselves, and then you're able to start with the physical living change, then you will have a foundation and a starting point of changing physical patterns, because then you will be able to, for example, stop masturbation if that is what is controlling you. You will be able to, in a conversation with somebody, let's say if the point you've noticed you have to stop is seeking attention, you will then be able to, in a conversation with somebody, if you notice that energetic feeling coming up of, oh, I just want to get attention from this person, and you go into your mind and the mind says, you know what to say to that person. Say, hey, what do you think of my new shirt? Or what do you think of my... You stop. Oh, okay. Because now the starting point is in place of I no longer accept and allow that. I change. And I change the way that I view me, therefore I can change the actual outflow, which was me going into the physical pattern of wanting attention or watching pornography or going into that anger or that energetic possessive state and whatever kind of personality it takes you into. So that is my perspective that I wanted to share with regards to the starting point of change.